Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I recently did a full face drugstore routine, so I did everything from foundation, concealer to eyeshadow and lips. But I get a lot of questions still about like foundation and concealer application from just friends and people on Instagram and stuff like that. So I thought it might be beneficial if I did just a mini tutorial focusing strictly on the base, foundation and concealer and setting all of that and all the great products from the drugstore that I use on my drugstore makeup days for my foundation and concealer. Today I'm going to be using this Revlon Colorstay Whipped Foundation. It is an amazing full coverage drugstore foundation. I stumbled upon this recently and I really love it. I'm also going to be using from the drugstore this Maybelline Master Concealer. This is a great full coverage concealer. This color 10 Fair in particular I think is a really great color for under eye and all of that stuff. I really love this concealer. So these are the two drugstore foundation and concealer products that I'm going to be using in the video today. I did also want to share with you just a couple other drugstore foundation and concealers that I do really like. They're not my favorite, but I do really like them. For a really long time, I would switch back and forth from these two foundations. This one is the Revlon Colorstay, which is from the same line as that Colorstay Whipped that I'm using today. This is not the whipped version. I find that this is more a medium to full coverage than a true full coverage, but I really love this foundation, and as you can see, I've used it a lot. I also really love this Maybelline Superstay 24-hour makeup. This is a really great drugstore foundation. Again, I feel like it's more of a medium to medium full coverage foundation, but a really good one if you don't want a super full coverage. And one more really good and also really popular drugstore foundation that I have used is this L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte Foundation. I do like this one. I don't love it as much as some other people do. It is definitely, I would say, more of a medium coverage foundation. It's, I guess, buildable, but it's really pretty sheer and a little more luminescent than I prefer. Even though it says matte, I feel like it's not super matte. So this is a good one, not my personal favorite, but I thought I'd share it with you guys anyways. And then one more concealer from the drugstore that I really like, again, is a Maybelline product. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. I really do like this concealer and I used it for under eyes for a while, but I find that the lightest color is just not quite light enough. But I do still use this every day for around my brows just when I'm prepping for foundation. So even though I'm using drugstore foundation and concealer on my face, I'm not going to use drugstore tools to apply them. I find that tools are some of the most important parts of your makeup kit. Without a good applicator, a product that's really a great product can look not so great. Forever, I used my fingers to apply my foundation. I thought using my fingers was great. I thought it was fine, but then my life completely changed when I was watching a Jaclyn Hill video and she raved about her Morphe M439. So I bought it and started using this to apply my foundation, and it just changed my entire makeup world. I got so much better of a finish, so much more of a full coverage, and I absolutely love it. I will never use my fingers again, I promise. I will always use a brush to apply my foundation. Recently, Sigma sent me a couple awesome products, and they sent me this 3D HD Kabuki brush that I have been using lately to put on my foundation. And I love this one particularly because it is angled. It has this really nice sharp angle. Please don't mind the fact that it's sturdy, but I just used it. Because I do my eyes before my foundation, this really helps getting around certain things that I want to avoid. So I love this brush. It's great. This is definitely a little bit higher end than the Morphe. They are both awesome. If you don't do your eyes first, I say the Morphe one's fine. If you do your eyes first, I highly recommend the Sigma brush. And then for concealer, I always use a damp beauty blender. I have tried off brands of the Beauty Blender, but I like the Beauty Blender brand the best. This is the black one. It's a little stained, and again, I just used it earlier, but even though some of the stains stay on it when I clean it, it doesn't affect the performance of the tool. It really gives me a beautiful blended finish, and unlike a lot of other makeup sponges, it does not pull the product off of my face. I can't stand that. There's nothing worse than putting on great foundation and going to blend in your concealer and your beauty blender is pulling all of your makeup off. So I really recommend investing in the Beauty Blender. Yeah, so I'm going to be using this today as well. So if you guys are struggling with your foundation and concealer routine, or just want to see what I do and what I use from the drugstore and how I get this full coverage makeup look with drugstore products and awesome tools, then please keep watching. If you're not new to my channel and you've seen my videos before, you probably know that I like to do my brows and my eyes before I do my face. If you are new to my channel, I like to do my brows and my eyes before I do my face. So, yeah. I just find that the most intricate part of my makeup is my eyes, my brows, and I also use the messiest products on them. Black liquid liner, mascara, eyeshadow, all of that tends to get down here and mess things up, and I like to be able to put my hands on my face, and it just makes everything so much easier. So you don't have to do your eyes first. This routine will still be the same. The only thing I've done on my face is I have moisturized it, and I also put primer on so that it had plenty of time to absorb into my skin. If you want the best makeup possible, you really need to have a great primer to start things off, just so your makeup goes on nice and smooth and doesn't like move and shift throughout the day. I have on my Benefit Professional Primer. I've used some great drugstore primers too. I just happen to be out of them right now. So since I'm already primed, the first thing I'm going to do is go in with my foundation, and I'm going to be using that Revlon Colorstay Whipped Cream Makeup. It is a full coverage foundation, and I am in the color 200 Sand Beige. And before I start putting all of that on my face, I need to get my hair out of my face, so I'm going to throw that up. So I just put some of that foundation on my hand, and I'm going to start to dot it all over my face, just so I have enough product everywhere and it's nice and even coverage. Now that the foundation's all dotted all over my face, I'm going to start to blend it all out, and I'm using my Sigma 3D HD Kabuki brush, and I'm just kind of sweeping that on all over my face and blending it into my ears. And then I put some foundation on my neck too, because to have a really nice blend, I like to bring that down onto my neck, just so I don't get that unappealing mask-like line from my foundation. I love the angles on this brush. It really like helps get right in there in the nose and a lot of other places. I totally just smacked this eyebrow with my brush and got foundation in it, but I'll fix that later. Jeez. But this brush does make it super easy to go around your eyebrow. I was just being sloppy and messed it up. Blend it all into my hairline really well. My foundation is all nice and blended in, and it is time for concealer, and I'm going to be using the Maybelline Master Conceal, and this one is in the color 10 Fair. I don't love the applicator of this product, but I do really like this drugstore concealer, so I just kind of squeeze it on and then spread it out with the tip. I normally end up with a little more product than I want, but it's okay. I just get a little more coverage that way. So I kind of squirt it on below my eye and spread it out and then start to bring the product down. I'm just using a little extra for other parts so I don't have way too much concealer on or waste any. So a little above my lip and a little on my chin. I also like to bring a little on my laugh lines and then a little bit on my forehead. So once my concealer is all on, it looks like this, and now it's time to blend it all in, and my absolute favorite way to blend in my concealer is my Beauty Blender. It's already damp. I love the pointed end of this because it makes it super, super easy to get underneath my eye. So I'm just kind of bouncing this on softly to blend it all in without like removing any product, and having it damp really helps with all that. This Beauty Blender does not work how it's supposed to work if it's not damp. And I always start by blending the concealer under my eyes first. I don't know why. It's just the most important part, so that's what I do first. And I just kind of blend that above my lip all the way up to my nose. I like to keep like the whole center of my face really nice and light and bright. I do, however, keep a little shadow below my lips just because it helps make my lips look a little more full, so I avoid that area right underneath. So I'm still using that side of the point for my forehead blend, for everything. I just find that it's a really good angle, and I like doing it that way. Now everything's blended out, but a little trick I learned from Jaclyn Hill is to go back over the eyes just since they're not quite dry yet, and just give those one more good pat just to make sure there's no creases or anything. It really helps. So now that I'm done with the foundation and concealer, it's time to set everything before it starts to crease on me. So from the drugstore lately, my favorite concealer setting powder has been this NYX Blotting Powder. It's in the color BLP01 Light Clair. It's just this really nice, light, kind of yellowy, translucent powder, and it works great for setting under the eyes. I'm just using this e.l.f. blush brush that I use to set my concealer, and I'm just going to pack that on everywhere that I put the concealer. And I'm really like packing it into the skin so that it really stays and nothing moves over the course of the day. And again, using this everywhere I put my concealer, on the bridge of my nose, all over my chin. And I also personally like to go right here with that light powder just above my jawline, because that's kind of where my contour is gonna stop. I like it to stay nice and bright under there just so that my contour is nice and defined. I'm gonna set the rest of my foundation using this Maybelline Fit Me powder, and this is in the color 110 Porcelain. I wish I had something a little bit darker, but this is all I have from the drugstore at the moment. Normally I would use something a little closer to the color of my foundation, but this should work fine. Using this Bare Minerals powder brush and just setting those areas that I did not set already. I like to get this all over my neck too, and just it helps blend out that foundation really well and sets that all too. You don't want to forget the neck because we put foundation there. Okay, so this is what my face looks like when I've put on my foundation and concealer and set everything before I've done any contouring, highlighting, blush, or anything like that. And this is what my face looks like with the rest of my makeup on, with contour, blush, highlight, all that stuff. I hope that this little mini tutorial really helped you guys. I know I struggled in the past with foundation and concealer application, and I feel like I've gotten to the point where I've become much better at it. I'm sure I will still continue to learn things and improve as time goes on, but for the meantime, I feel like this is pretty good. So those drugstore products gave me a really great full coverage look. The Revlon Colorstay Whipped Foundation is one of the most full coverage foundations I have found from a drugstore. A lot of them claim to be full coverage, but this one really is. I feel like it does a really good job. And second to my Kat Von D Lock-It foundation, this is my second favorite and definitely my first favorite drugstore foundation. And also the Maybelline Master Conceal Concealer does a really great job of setting my under eyes while also keeping it really bright. It's a good light yellow toned color, and I really, really love it. Also my number 2 to the Urban Decay Naked Concealer, which I use when I'm using my pricier products. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little video, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.